So let's get started with Google Meet. In the school context, this can be used to facilitate synchronous learning opportunities for your students. But before setting this up, it's important to establish good online netiquette. Posting expectations such as this on your Google Classroom may go to some way to help here, but it's also important that you follow your own best practice to avoid awkward situations occurring. Setting up two-step verification and taking the likes of the Google security checkup are two ways to ensure your account doesn't become compromised, especially if you're using multiple devices. It's also important to ensure you don't unwittingly divulge the meeting codes you use publicly. But what if an unauthorized user attempts to gain entry to your Meet? What can you do about it? Well, let's jump into Meet now and see how best to manage it. You can start a Google Meet in a number of ways. If you're having regular online synchronous lessons with classes, the best way of setting up a Meet is probably using the integration on your classroom page. This will generate a unique meeting link for students in this particular classroom, which can be used over and over again when you want to video conference with them. Unlike Meet set up using the 10-digit Google Calendar or Meet web codes, students cannot join a classroom Meet without you or rejoin when the Meet is over and you have left. So let's take a look at how to set up and use this. Once you've created your classroom, simply go to the Settings cog and go down to Meet and click Generate Meet Link. You can also choose in here whether you want to make it visible or not. In this example, I'm going to make it visible to my students so that it's accessible on the classwork and on the stream page. If you want to copy the link to perhaps send it to someone who isn't in your Google Classroom, you can simply click on this down arrow and select Copy, and it will copy the link to your clipboard. You can also choose to reset your Google Meet code in here. Once you're happy with your configuration and setup, simply hit Save. And voila, your Meet integration is complete and is accessible from the classwork page and also from the stream. As a teacher then, if I click on this link, it will take me into the Meet. Now it's important to note that as soon as this screen appears, the Meet is technically live, even though you haven't joined it. This means that unless you've turned off the quick access control, pupils from this point forth will be in the Meet. When you click the Join Now button and join the Meet, you'll be presented with your classroom meeting code, but another meeting code also appears here and can be found here. This string of characters can also be seen in the address bar at the top of the screen, and herein lies the danger. If pupils screenshot this URL or share these 10 characters, it allows other people to access your Google Meet and video bomb it. To guard against video bombing, I would advise you to click on the lock icon in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and to take quick access off. This will give you the ability to accept or decline people into your Meet. You can also prevent users from sharing their screens in here, as well as enable or disable chat. All of these settings can be toggled on or off throughout the Meet. In the school environment, it's usually advised to configure all of these settings to off at the outset and adjust as and when required. Whatever way you configure these settings, it's worthwhile noting that the configuration is applied to this particular meeting code. This means if you close out of this classroom meeting and access it again at a later date, your settings will be saved. But what can you do if someone who is already in the Meet starts disrupting it? If the worst does happen and you want to kick somebody out of your Meet, simply click on the People tab and go down to the 3 dots beside their name and select Remove from Meeting. This will remove them from the meeting and they won't be able to request to rejoin it. You also have the option of muting participants in this section. Pinning users is also helpful. It puts the visual focus on one particular person. If I pin Karen Chabin here, you'll see that the focus shifts to her. I would often encourage my students to pin me as I'm the teacher so they can concentrate on what I'm saying or doing and avoid unnecessary distractions. One of the problems I often come across in a meet is that the teacher cannot see themselves as well as their class. To address this issue, close this panel, and in the top right hand corner of the screen, when you hover over your initial, you should see a little tiled icon. Switching this on will allow you to see yourself. However, in this particular example, it's telling me I can't show myself due to the layout I have chosen. To address this issue, simply click on the three dots in the lower right-hand corner of your screen and go to Change Layout. Any of these layouts, apart from the Spotlight one, should allow you to see yourself. I'm going to select the Auto one and close. Now when I go back up to that tiled icon, I am able to select myself and show myself on the screen. Another issue users commonly report is not being able to see their class while sharing their screen. There are a number of ways around this. You may connect up to another monitor and then choose the screen you want to display. So now if I go to Present Now and choose to share my entire screen, I can pick from one of the three screens that I have attached to this PC. In this particular example, I'm going to select Screen 3. I'm now presenting this screen. As you can see, I can still see who is on the call. Alternatively, you could log into the Meet on another device, such as a mobile phone. If you choose this option though, you'll have to ensure your mic and audio are switched off to avoid interference. And of course, this gives you another device to have to worry about and manage. Some people address this common problem by pulling out their Meet tab like so, minimizing it, manipulating it, and simply overlaying it against the part of the screen they'd like to present, like so. This can be tricky to master. Another way you can go about splitting your screen in Google Meet is by using extensions. I'm going to go to the Chrome Web Store and add a couple of extensions to help with this. In here, I simply am going to type the first extension, which will split my screen, and it's called DualS. Click here and add it to my extensions. To make it as easy as possible to view all of my students when I'm using DualS, I'm going to install another extension. So I'm simply going to click back into my Chrome Store. And in here, I'm going to type in Google Meet Grid View. I'm going to go for this one, and I'm going to add that also to my extensions. Let's flick back into Meet now to see how DualS and Grid View actually work. In your Meet, simply go up to the little extension icon in your Chrome browser. Scroll down to the DualS extension, which is this one, Split Screen for Google Chrome, and click on it. You'll be presented with this screen. Click on Let's Go and choose your configuration. I'm going to go for this 50/50 screen setup. You'll see this then splits the screen, and then I can then put on my grid view to get the grid view of my pupils. So I've looked at how to set up and manage a Google Meet. Hopefully you found this video useful and it will help you with your practice moving forward.